Our next section is called Using Speculative Play as a Serious Tool for Innovation, which goes hand in hand with today's theme incredibly well. So now we're going to hear how the world's first femtech venture studio built a model that doesn't just react to market needs, but actually reshapes them, and how to use speculative play as a serious tool for innovation. So I'd like to welcome Malin Frithiofsson again, CEO of Daya Ventures. Hi, welcome back on stage.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Now sitting down.
So I'm just going to give a quick intro about you. So Maya is CEO of Daya Ventures. It's the world's first femtech venture studio, and you have more than 10 years of experience in early stage innovation. And she now leads Daya's work, launching high growth startups in women's health. And she's a recognized angel investor and ecosystem builder. Wow. Great to have you.
It's so good for your confidence when someone else introduces you. I feel like you should do this every day, just to have someone do your bio, because I was like, who's that cool person? Oh, it's me.
Big confidence boost. Okay, so origin story. I'd love to hear what exactly led you to create Daya Ventures.
Frustration.
So, I mean, fair enough.
It's as you mentioned, I've been working in early stage innovation for quite a bit, and I was working at a VC that works with commercialization of research. I worked in different countries. And I just kept getting a little bit frustrated for two reasons. So I was frustrated when it comes to commercialization of research because it's very much tech push. So like, here is this amazing material that we've created. What can we solve with it? And that was frustrating to me because at the same time, I'm also a woman. And I have 2 children, 2 pregnancies, 2 preeclampsias, and 2 emergency C-sections. And you know, I'm not going to go into everything, but it's easy to become radicalized when it comes to women's health if you've ever given birth or been pregnant. So to me, it was very frustrating. Like, why do we have to find application areas and come up with problems to solve when we're not solving issues within this, you know, the health and well-being for more than half of the population? And secondly, as an angel, when I started angel investing, because I thought, okay, then I'll have my own mandate. So then I can actually, you know, find the real problems and invest in them. And then the deal flow that I was seeing wasn't doing what I wanted. So it was a lot of really amazing entrepreneurs, but they were solving issues that didn't really feel like that big of an issue. So it was a lot of, you know, new calendar apps or recruitment systems, which are great, but when I'm sitting there and just, you know, I remember actually sitting there being highly pregnant and being told that we don't know what preeclampsia, what causes this, and we have no cure, and 500,000 women die every year, and I'm just sitting there like, why are we pushing? We're using technology and entrepreneurship and capital to push the needle this far on problems that are already quite solved and were maybe not that important to begin with. And then we have this, you know, wide open space that's so underserved and so under-innovated. So yeah, that was the kind of the origin story of Daya, was to, okay, instead of sitting and waiting for someone to have a eureka moment and starting a company and then me finding them and being able to invest in them, let's, you know, we can't really afford to wait any longer for these eureka moments because it's going so damn slow. So instead, what can we do to create the space where these eureka moments can happen? And basically that was the foundational idea of Daya. Like, how do we actually, here's a problem, let's still work with researchers, let's still work with entrepreneurs, but start problem first and then bringing in all of these forces to solve it. So yeah, frustration.
I'm glad that there was so much passion behind that frustration that led you to where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is about. It's about, you know, solving problems and creating value for, you know, I'm a woman as well, but I have 2 daughters. So I feel like when I had my first daughter, that's when I got a timeline of, you know, all this shit that women have to deal with still. Like, it's frustrating when it happens to you, but I refuse to be the case when my daughters enter the world. So I needed to get a move on. I felt like
now.
Yeah, I felt like I got a ticking, you know, clock that says like, okay, now I have a timeline that I need to, you know, I have a deadline. Like, I'm not gonna let her take 7 years to get a endometriosis diagnosis, or I'm not gonna let her like be one of the, you know, have a 50% bigger risk of having adverse effects of basically any type of drug because they haven't been properly tested on women. So, or be one of the 3 women in in the world that are victims of sexual assault. So there's a lot of issues that threaten women's health and well-being, and when you put that into the scope of this is the world I'm giving my daughters to, then that just makes it all the more pressing.
100%. So the theme of our chat is speculative play as a serious tool for innovation. What does that mean to you, and how does it become part of your innovation process?
So basically, all of the startups that we've created and probably will ever create has been born out of speculative play. And for me, speculative play is daring to imagine things how they should be and not too early in the process weighing in, is it doable? Is it fundable? Is it business viable? And instead of thinking about what is actually doable, thinking about how things should be done and allowing you to, innovate with a space that doesn't have those limitations. So that's actually a funny, I'm very much like a lover of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs, but when we started, we've been playing around with this process, and in the beginning we actually had entrepreneurs part of the process already at the intervention stage. So we call it interventions. It's when we choose an area. So the last one we did was endometriosis. We've also done women in space, which is it's an ongoing intervention right now. And then we invite researchers who's published on the topic. We invite doctors who specialize on the topic, patient advocacy groups. Sometimes it's been politicians, doulas. It's like anyone who has something, a vested interest in this topic, but also specific knowledge to add to the problem. And then we invite them to the table, basically to really dig into the problem in a series of workshops. I think endometriosis ended up at 27 workshops.
27, wow.
Yeah. And we always have an engineering team. So the goal is always to try to, look at the problem from the patient perspective and the clinical perspective and see, is there a space for a tech solution to come in and solve it? And in the beginning, we also had entrepreneurs in the intervention stage, and that just did not work because then you added the level of, feasibility, which I think is very important when it comes to innovation, but not at the right time. So one thing I learned through this process was that engineers, doctors, and researchers speak the same language. Like it was watching magic happen every time. They really understand each other in the way they approach innovation. When you added entrepreneurs, like I'm in that field, I would be the entrepreneur, but it kind of messed up the dynamic. So now we add the entrepreneurs later because you need to have that space where you're not limited by what is doable within the frames of how the capital system or the markets are looking now, but just how things should be.
100%.
Yeah, and that is, speculative design it's the basis for everything, the starting point for everything we do.
Exactly. Creativity leads to innovation. Thank you so much, Malin. I have so many more questions. That is all our time for today. And people, if you want to learn more about Malin, please check out Daya Ventures.
Yes, please do. Thank you.